What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I am your host, Mangone. I'm here with Big T, here with DC, or as Big T and I have called him last week, we call him Coach sometimes. So let's go to you first, DC. How's the day going? And are you ready for this big NBA slate?
Well, it's hard to be truly ready for an 11-game slate, especially this time of year. Obviously, we're going to get tons of news down the stretch and things are going to change. But yeah, as ready as I can be, breaking it down with you guys. And I almost like hanging my head in shame coming on the show, man, going, you owned me on Monday. The Kevin Huerter call, couldn't shut up about how bad of a play it was. Sure enough, delivers 36 fantasy points. I knew I was in trouble when DeAndre Hunter was a late scratch. I'm like, oh, this is going to go well. Of course, he buries 6 of 10 threes and buries me to the point where, I break out the hard stuff a little bit early, have a rough night on Twitter. I'm up in the morning. I got to decide if I want to delete tweets or read them or leave them up. It's never an easy decision. So you set me off, Mangone. And I will say, Big T, your party, I've been, this last like 6 months or so, I've been all about getting in shape. That set me back like a month. I had a good run today, but it's been 2 weeks since I arrived at your party. I get in this party mode at your place, and it's taken me like 10 days, even after that, from being home to get back in like my kind of grinding mindset. So I think I'm there now, but it's been a step backwards.
Listen, I've taken the step back too. I have not gotten back into hitting the gym and stuff. It was nice, once you kind of get the W in the basketball streets, it was nice. And I just still haven't gotten off. I need to find something to get me excited. Maybe I need to fly out in August while Big T and Title do a match and find someone else to take on to give me some motivation to get me back in there. Let's head on over to Big T. I also don't know if you heard when I said Kevin Huerter was my play of the day, and DC, he had the balls to say that's the worst play of the day all year or all season. So I don't know if you heard that one. So curious your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, I like all the trash talk. So some good trash talk, always good for the show. And yeah, the party, I mean, there was a lot of drinks consumed. I wasn't in contention for the drinking title, but I was definitely in the upper echelon. I can't compete with DC and Stevie, and even Pooh was trying to hang with the boys. I was probably about 10th place finisher, and I was still hurting for several days after. So we had a great time. Yeah, I'm still not back in NBA mode. It's tough. I mean, and I love the playoffs as much as anyone. I'm going to get in full grind mode when that comes. But man, the next week's tough for me. I'll admit it. Like, you don't know the who's playing hard, who needs what. Some teams are obvious. I mean, we can all know those teams who needs to win. But then you got other games like the Portland game the other night, where it's the island game and it has all the best plays and you don't know who's going to start and play. And it's just, don't get me wrong, there's edge, and we're going to try to find edge for you, no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean we like it. Like, even if I ship, it doesn't mean, of course you'll like it. But overall, it's just hard, and it's just more news-based than anything. And Mangone's going to crush for sure, because these are the slates. He just dominates, and hopefully he's got some winners for me, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
But by the way, Mangone, that is some tasty facial hair you got going on there. The handlebar mustache, man, I like the look.
I don't know if I agree with DC on this.
Big T hasn't commented, so I know Big T
I don't know about the mustache.
I know the Big T read. If I jumped on the Zoom and he saw it, he would have been like, man, I love that thing. He didn't say
I need to shave myself. Do you mind if I join you on the handlebar mustache crew? It could work out.
You could join.
It could be like the baseball crew, you, Uncle T, and DC, just the mustache crew.
Yeah, I think I might be in on that.
I'd have to see, but I don't know if I'm keeping it too long. It might be gone tomorrow. We'll have to see. But,
no, you got to
tomorrow. Quick departure.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long I keep.
I see whose opinion you value more between me and Big T. I'll say that if you're shaving it up.
You got to wait till tomorrow, see if it's still on his face or not.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm going away with the parents this weekend, and my mom's not a huge fan, I will say. So I'm going to pick her up at the airport
don't
this.
Change your facial hair because of your mom. Come on.
Yeah. I'm back on DC's side. You got to leave it on there now.
No, I don't want to. I don't know. We'll see what I do. It might keep it, but I look a little ridiculous for sure. But I figured I'd do it for fun. I'm going away.
You need to at least test it out with the ladies, though. Get some feedback. See what they think about it.
I've definitely gotten some feedback. I've gotten some feedback. I've gotten good. I've gotten bad. It just depends on the person. But hey, it's not for everyone. And
you got to always listen to your coach too. Your coach is telling you it's a good look.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm not shaving it tonight, so maybe tonight I'll, be out on the town. Maybe I'll be able to, get some ladies. We'll have to see. I will say this, DC. When I walk in with this mustache, everyone knows I have confidence. I'll tell you that. Like, you can't walk around with this without the confidence factor.
I hope not. And no, Mangone is full of confidence. Absolutely. I saw you on the court, so absolutely rock that thing.
Of course, but I will say, BigT, I have not been as big of a fan of these slates as you, as in the past, because they are kind of like we have to roster some really like awful basketball players.
I mean, look at the best dudes tonight. Seriously, I don't know how anyone could honestly like when the best plays of the slate are KJ Martin, Jayshawn Tate, Josh Christopher.
Three Rockets at the top.
I mean,
really? On this show, we call him John Christopher. That's what I called him once. So now his name is John.
We can do that.
Effect, so I call him John. But yes, it's a really, really
Trey Mann who got scratched the other night. I mean, come on, 7,600 Davion Mitchell. I mean, come on, just get us to the playoffs. What do we got? When's the playoffs start? Next weekend?
I think it's April like 8th or 10th, but then you have those
the next following
games.
Week after. So we got one more full week.
And then the playing games, I don't know how they're going to be structured, but you might have just showdown slates, right? It might be like island game after island game. I'm not sure. So you'll definitely have like a 4 to 5.
You would think it'd be 2 gamers, like 2 games each day.
That'll be great though, because we'll have like the full week of baseball starting off the Masters, and then after a week of baseball, it'll be NBA playoffs, and we'll be off to the races. So,
and even like the playing games are showdown. That's still a way better slate for what we do than some of these, because we at least know
100%.
Sign me up for that. Meaningful games.
Yeah, I will say I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm going to Vail this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow. DC, I'm very excited to not play basketball that much this weekend. We'll see. Depends, but
it doesn't mean we're not playing or putting in the work or trying to win.
Yeah,
it's just not as fun when the best players are scrubs on teams that aren't trying to win. That's just
I watched OKC in Portland the other night. I didn't enjoy it though. I mean, it was just like a disaster to watch.
And it's all the best plays on the slate. Like, it's just DC said it best. Yeah, we're still going to win, and we're still going to try to win, and still going to give winners. And it doesn't mean we have to like it though.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I don't mind about these slates is if there are some obvious values and they have some short rotations, I think the best way to be different is just at the top. I will say it's hard to be different without Jokic today against the Pacers. That's one spot that's
and like, how do you not play Jokic? That's another story as we get into the slate. But like, how do you not play him? The Nuggets need to win. He's going against a team that has no resistance. It's like, I get the point. Like, you can get different by not playing him, but man, like, it's so hard not to play him.
My way to do it, I've been noticing, BigT, is like, for instance, I ran stuff earlier. So let me look now. I'm seeing a lot of teams that go, how many Rockets? Let's see. It's like, I don't know. It's four Rockets, 5, sometimes 3. Like, that's where I just limit like my Rockets to 3. And then I just kind of like run stuff and call it a day, where like I'm still playing the really good plays, but I'm also not like capping my ceiling at the same time. And if I happen to miss the one guy, so be it. Like yesterday, if you played Lakers and you limited it to like 1 or 2, well, then maybe you didn't fall on Dwight Howard, who got 1.25 fantasy points. Like, maybe you only got to Stanley Johnson, or you only got to Wayne Gabriel or Malik Monk. Like, I think that's the best way that I've noticed that I've had success lately. So I don't mind these slates if everyone's just going to slam them all in. And I think there's opportunity for them to hurt their ceilings by playing like 5 Rockets. If that makes sense, BigT.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing too, that just because we're talking about strategy, because I think it's important, I kind of learned yesterday where a lot of these mid-rangers are going to be tougher plays, where like yesterday, if you'd have played 2 studs between Giannis and Durant and Luka, no one played 2. You were like guaranteed to print. And there's like these 3K guys that you're not going to be super excited to play, even like the Houston guys. Like, all these guys that are going to check out, like, Houston doesn't want to win games. They have no incentive really to play Tate as much as people think they will. And he's going to be one of the highest owned guys on the slate just because of his projection. And I think you can pivot to, this is strictly tournaments, and obviously that's what I play, but you can pivot to like Garuba at 3K, Deshaun Nix at 3,300. Even Bruno at 3K. Like, these are tournament plays, but like, all of a sudden, then you can play Jokic with another stud like Trae Young or whoever the other stud, and pivot down to Houston guys that are actually young guys that maybe they want to, like, I don't think they need to run Tate more than 25 minutes or something.
Anytime you can make a legitimate case that the chalkiest plays on the slate are going to just get the rug straight up pulled out from under them when Houston doesn't get the minutes just because they have no reason to really give them. It's not like they need these minutes for developmental minutes for these guys. They've had plenty of minutes. They're not stars, and most likely the projections are what they are for a reason, right? But when you can make the legitimate case that like could just go all wrong for no reason at all, and you throw in the fact that or Houston could just suck, right? I mean, that's a possibility too. You have a couple outs, I think, to fading some of the chalkiest guys on the slate if that's the direction you want to go in.
Yeah, and a lot of time I think of, well, what's their price tag? Like, for instance, like I had a team that it put up a 288 yesterday, and it had Dwight Howard on it. Like, I mean, 1.25 fantasy points because he's just so cheap. Sometimes you can just get there because, like Big T said, when you jam in those studs, like I had a Luka and a Giannis, well, it gets you to the top. It just missed cashing in GPPs, but it cashed in some other stuff like triple ups and quintuple ups because Dwight Howard was just so owned in that. So there's tons of times where I've had just like cheap 3K guys that, like, there's a big difference between like KJ Martin at 3.6 and Jayshawn Tate at 4.5. But we'll talk about the Rockets as we kind of get closer to that. Guys, if you can, please like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. Hit that red subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Check out all of our content over here at Run Pure Sports. You don't want to miss out on it. We have so much coming. I mean, we got MLB. We got NBA playoffs coming up. On top of that, we got the Masters, which is one of the biggest events of the year. You do not want to miss out on all it. So subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that like so we can give out those plays of the day. Don't want to mention it throughout the show, but of course I'm going to if we don't get them moving. So I'm going to hit it now. Hit it to 74. So that is the number that I just locked in at. Let's move on, though. Let's start talking about this slate. And it is a big slate. I'm sure Kay Fallick is in the chat saying, you guys have only 45 minutes to get this done. Don't worry. There's games we are just going to cross off pretty easily. And I think the first game could be one that we kind of cross off a little bit. We got the Mavs and the Cavaliers, and Luka is always in play. I'm not going to say Luka's a bad play, but not someone I'm prioritizing, at least right now. They are playing a bit of a shorter rotation, though. It's a 215 total. Dallas 1.5 road favorite, so I do expect Luka to get the full run. If you want to play him, go ahead and play him. I don't think he's a bad play. And then on the other side, Karis LeVert has gotten a lot more run where he has become more intriguing at times. Also, Evan Mobley, he's not there now, where Kevin Love at 5'3" on FanDuel, really interesting. 6'9" on DK, it's a little bit of a tougher tag. DC, let's go over to you. I don't think this is a game to like jam guys in, but maybe you can get exposure to them. What's your thoughts here?
Well, we'll start off the first game disagreeing because you're talking about crossing this game off. I'm trying to stack this game. I love this game, actually. Two teams that need to win. The Cavaliers are just all over the place in terms, like the Eastern Conference standings. The Cavs can finish one of like 5 or 6 spots still. Same thing with Dallas. They can get up to the 3 all the way down to potentially the 6 seed. Then you've got, tighter rotations here. I think the loss of Evan Mobley, what I expect to happen, and what we saw last game, right? Mobley goes down with the ankle sprain. Kevin Love starts at center in the second half, plays big minutes, and then Lauri Markkanen is the backup center at this point. So right off the bat, those two guys are interesting to me. We've seen what Garland has been doing. They're just kind of down to, and then LeVert is going to play big minutes here too. So I see Cleveland with 4 guys, obviously led by Garland, but also LeVert, Love, Markkanen, who are going to probably play big minutes in a game the Cavaliers really do want to win. You look at the other side, missing Spencer Dinwiddie, which makes me like Luka Doncic, right? We like them when there's just 2 of the three guards there, along with, I think, a decent play, Jalen Brunson. And then, I just see if this game stays close. I know it's a 215 total. It's relatively low, but it is 2 teams that do want to win. You know where the production's going. And I actually see a potential game stack here, especially on FanDuel, where all these guys are way cheaper. Building teams before the show, kind of built the same 5-6 guys that I just talked about on DraftKings, and you can't even fill out your roster. If you do it on FanDuel, though, with the same guys, you've got like 5,600 left per roster spot. And so with so much uncertainty, I know it's kind of Seems crazy maybe to lock a bunch of guys in the first game, but I see a lot of guys who could play big minutes and produce in this one. So I guess a different take for me, a risky one. And you know, if there's crazy news all over the place late, it probably won't work. But right now, I do like this game quite a bit, especially on FanDuel.
Yeah, no, I do think on FanDuel, I like it a little more. DK, it's a little tougher for me. You can make the argument.
They're all priced up on DK is the problem. So
the only argument you can make on DK is like, you could just spend on two studs, like a Garland and a Luka, and just fill in those like value forwards if you want. And that would be a quick way to be unique.
I mean, Cleveland's defense is not going to be as good. They lost Allen and now Mobley. Now they've got Kevin Love anchoring the 5 with Lauri Markkanen. Their big thing is they've been protecting the rim all year long so well. That's going to change, right? With Love and Markkanen out there, it's just not going to be the same. So I think this game, I like it to go over that total as well.
Yep, with you on that. Big T, talk about this game to me. What is your thought process here on this one? Is this one that you're just crossing off, or are you Big T 7-7-7 and getting out in front of everyone?
No, I'm actually on Team DC here because the teams that I'm targeting, besides just the teams like Houston where you have all the value,
sure,
I want the studs from the teams that have to win this last week, and both of these teams have to win. The Mavs are in the 4 seed. They got a little cushion over the Jazz and Nuggets and T-Wolves, but they have to win. They want that 4 seed. They want that home game.
Yep.
So they're going to want to win. And Cleveland slipped to 7 and all the injuries. So they're 1 game back of Toronto. They definitely don't want to be in the play-in against the Nets and against these teams.
I don't mean to cut you off, but don't you think this is like the time they're going to unleash Kevin Love here? Like,
yeah,
give us.
I agree completely. I like your take.
But could come back. Give us what you got for the last.
He's going to too. Yeah. Like Love, we've seen this in the NBA our entire lifetime. Guys like Love, he has games where he pops off, but this is when he's going to ramp it up a little bit and go hard the next couple weeks. They have a ton of injuries too. Even like who's the other dude out for Cleveland? Another dude's out for the year. Dean Wade out for the year or whatever.
Granted,
he's not a big usage guy, but he still eats some of the minutes in there where I think these guys like Garland and Love and LeVert mainly. I'd even put Lamar Stevens as a value guy.
Don't forget Markkanen, man. Markkanen's going to start.
I get worried about that injury the other night, though. I shouldn't worry about it. I do like him. He was hobbled a little bit. It worried me just a little. I mean, do you know what's the deal with his injury?
With who?
Markkanen.
I will say that's one dude I have not paid close attention to.
He's not on the injury report at all.
He's probably good. I mean, he just
he's
looked
not on the
hobbled.
report. I wouldn't be worried about it because these guys are grinding for playoffs, right? It's just probably something that bothered him. Real quick.
Played the backup 5. The 24 minutes at the 5 in the second half of that game were Love, and then it was Markkanen. He played like 22 of 24 minutes in the second half of that last game. I think you could see Markkanen out there for 40 minutes tonight, honestly.
Yeah, well, you could easily see him play the 4 and the 5 and play that backup 5.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he is. That's what he's going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends if you want to like pay like, and this is a way to be different, right? Like if you pay 6.5 at your small forward while everyone's paying down in the 4K range, well, like you can still play like KJ Martin and I'm blanking on the other one. Not Tate, whoever the other guy is.
Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher. Yeah. So you play both those guys at the forward spot, not play Tate, and then do a spend up small forward. And that's just like a simple way that you're unique and do like Luka and Markkanen. And there you go. Like that's just one small way to do it. Maybe it's Kevin Love. There's tons of ways to just get unique. And I do think at the forward position, that's a great way to do it if you do spend up at spots. So there's another spot that I'll talk about later on. I don't think is bad for it. Big T, do you have any other thoughts here on Markkanen in this game?
I mean, I like this game. I'm definitely with DC, and I want the studs. Really, from Dallas, all I like is Luka, but I think Luka's an incredible play. I mean, Dallas needs to win. Their defense is going to be way worse without Mobley and Allen, for that matter. I agree with DC's take on this game.
There's no
way. Prices are high, but I think they're fair. Like K-Love in this spot could be like an 8K guy. No one's going to play Garland. Like literally no one's going to play him at 10-2, and he could spout off big time. Dallas has no rim protection either. So I think this game's great. Even a guy like Josh Green at 3,100, I think's in play on a star build. Lamar Stevens, I think's decent. Is value. I like this game a lot. I'm definitely going to have my preferred build tonight would be Jokic with a few pieces from here and then some value.
Yeah, one more thing I'm just gonna look up really quick, like the last game. Yeah, so Kevin Love played
32 minutes.
Yeah, he played 32 minutes, but he didn't play the last 5, right? So I think that's like interesting. I'm wondering why he didn't play it. It was against the Magic. So what was the final score? Was 107 to 101. It is weird that he didn't play.
I didn't see the game. They ended with Markkanen at the 5. You know, I just but you look at like what Dallas is running out there. I think Love can play big minutes at the 5 against Dallas, right? Who doesn't really have a big that's going to punish them for doing that. But same time, man, this defense cannot possibly be the same. You telling me, you know, Garland, Markkanen, Love is going to be some lockdown defense? I'm just not buying that.
No, I agree. I don't think their defense will be great. And it's the second night of a back-to-back for Dallas, where like you can make the argument like defense could definitely be struggling a little bit for sure. Yeah. Let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Magic and the Wizards, where Kristaps Porzingis just keep smashing every night. And 8-9, it feels like it's priced right, but I don't know. Maybe it's not. Like he definitely has a ceiling still at that price. I don't see myself playing him though. It just seems like too high of a tag where I don't think I'm going to go there. This Magic side, like when Jeff Doughton is getting, you know, minutes like nightly, then I think there's a problem here with this team. I don't really want to mess with them too much. I know Chuma Okeke, he feels like a guy that you can kind of get like between 25 and 35 minutes for, and he feels safe. But on this slate, I don't know if I want to pay a 5.1K tag. It was fine at like the 4K range, but now it's getting up there for me, especially with this team. Feels like they're tanking a bit and they're just trying not to win games. So Big T, is this a game that you're going to cross off here, or are you jamming it in?
Yeah, these are the games kind of what I'm talking about where it's just hard for me. You don't have any motivation. You don't have any clear value. There's guys that'll project decent. I mean, you got like the Denny plays and stuff like that. But I just, me personally, I want to stick with teams that are playing for something and clear-cut values. That'll be my path for the next week, without a doubt.
Yep.
And unfortunately, this game, you don't have anyone that checks those boxes for me on an 11-game slate. There's decent plays. Don't get me wrong. If you fall on a Denny or something, and or even a Porzingis, or sure, it's okay. But for me, I'm going to stick with those rules. I'm going to play guys that have motivation and clear-cut values. This game's going to be a fade.
All right, let's move on over to the next one. Or sorry, DC, we got to talk to you about this one, even though it's not a game I don't think you like too much. But Denny has been good. I will mention that. Denny has really been crushing off the bench. 5.3K can get, I mean, look at the game log. Since he's kind of been in this role, he's just been smashing nightly. Doesn't feel like the right slate to me to do it, but DC, give me your thoughts here on the Wizards and Magic.
Yeah, I think Big T said it well. We're on the same page through 2 games here where Orlando, I mean, actively trying to lose, it seems like, based on some of their rotations and the scores that they put out there. And they have enough bodies where you just don't know where the minutes are going to go. It's like, it's possible they'll like purposely put in the players that aren't doing well to end the game, you know? So it's like, that's not a team that I want to invest in. And in Washington, their prices are just up, right? 5,300 for Vijay Gitt, he's been good. 8,900 for Porzingis, and I think somewhat popular, at least for that high of a price tag. That's not where historically it's worked with Porzingis, right? You got to get out on him when he's cheap or he's unowned. I'll take a pass here. Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Nuggets and let's talk about the Pacers. And we got to talk about this game because Jokic, he is one of the best spend-ups today against the Pacers. Kind of feels like Charlotte the other day. I remember, like, I think 5 days ago, I just happened to look at the Nuggets schedule, and I was like, oh, here we go. Charlotte and the Pacers. Looks like I'm playing a lot of Jokic this week just because this matchup is so good. And Big T, I mean, everyone is going to be jamming in Rockets and, like, maybe some OKC options, but people might not jam in these Pacers. And they're playing a little bit shorthanded, and we don't know what their injury status is for sure going to be. Let me pull it up now. We got Goga, questionable. Brogdon, questionable. Expect him to sit. Jackson, questionable. Brissett, and Washington. So we have a lot of guys that are questionable here. And yes, I think based on the projections, these Pacers could be getting pushed in more, but maybe they get bumps and they don't get pushed in because the Rockets are just in a better spot if, like, a Sengun is out. So what's your thought process here? Because I think playing Jokic is smart, but I also think, like, the smart route is just getting a Pacer, like one run back or two in there is not bad, especially if they're shorthanded. Like, if they only have 8 bodies, which they've had for like the last couple games, I played Buddy Hield and he's been great. And I mean, at 7.3K, it's a great way just to be unique and get a 1% guy that can drop 50 fantasy points. So what's your thoughts here on some Pacers runbacks and Jokic today?
Yeah, the one thing I like about this slate is these 3 7 o'clock games are super clear cut for me. And we need the Pacers news as who's in and who's out, who the starters are. But say a few of these guys end up out, which the way the Pacers are trending, I assume a few of these guys will be out. I don't know who, but say they're down to like 8 guys again, like the other night. I mean, you're gonna have to look at a few of them, even like a Dwayne Washington at 3K. I know I keep talking about a lot of these cheap guys, but that's just my roster construction with Luka and Jokic and Garland and some of the other Trae Young. I want the studs that are playing for something, which means I need to find some values. And a guy like Dwayne Washington in a blowout, which I think Denver for sure blows this team out tonight. I feel like I have a really good pulse on Denver. I just think the matchup's too good for them. I think Jokic just smashes, and I think they need to win. The Nuggets need to win as much as anyone. They want to lock up. What are they right now? They're in the 6th seed. They're only 2 games ahead of the Minnesota, 1 game behind or tied with the Jazz actually for the 5. They have to win, and Indiana has no resistance for a guy like Jokic. So definitely, I can't imagine not playing Jokic. Even in a blowout, he's going to get you 60, which I'm fine with. And I don't know. Indiana, though, yes. To answer your question, I'm definitely interested. I just want to wait for the news and the starters. And the good thing is at Run Pure, we got the Up to Lock show with JSU. I'm not sure exactly who's on today, but whoever's on there is going to be breaking the news down for you. And you're going to get the lineups, which I love. Before 7, we'll know who's in, who's out. And the nice part about this slate, we whined about it a little, me included, is you got these studs early and you got the news early with Indiana, and then you can just backload some of the Houston and some of the value guys to mix and match. That's my plan for the night. But for Indiana side, I want more info before I jump on some people.
All right, DC, talk to me about this game. Jokic is definitely going to be a staple for building out your lineups. Will he be a staple in your lineups at 12.4K? And then are you running back some Pacers here?
Yeah, you can't argue with Jokic. I will say one thing that's nice about these shows, and I'm sure that's why so many people watch them. You feel better usually about the slate, right? After talking it through with 2 of your friends and trying to break it all down and come up with strategies. And it's not just talking about the exact numbers. It's talking about what could happen and where could I go if this happens or that happens. Jokic, obviously the premier play here. You can fit him in with the lineup you like. I mean, please, by all means, fantastic play, gonna smash. Matchup couldn't be better. We said the same thing against Charlotte. He puts up 70 points. I mean, he's probably putting up 70 again, right? Unless the Nuggets blow him out, which is certainly very possible. It seems almost likely. So that's the only case really to make for fading him, other than the ownership reasons. And then, yeah, Indiana, it's kind of hard to say who you're going to go to right now when there's so much news that still needs to be sorted out, both in the Indiana game and elsewhere in the league. But if they get real thin, right, where you can just kind of almost guarantee the minutes to your guys that are cheap, that's when I'd look at Indiana tonight. I don't think I'm going to pay up for a Hield or a Halliburton necessarily, just because I don't fully trust Indiana. But if the value opens up for them, I have no problem. Looks like the big men might be the guys that you'd be most likely to go to there.
Yep, definitely have to get that news. It's going to be really important. Stay tuned to the Up the Lock show. They will lead you on that. Big T, before we kind of dive into the next slate, I want to mention, let's get our Twitter, we can get our Twitter followers up. That'd be huge. Once we get to 15K, if you go follow on Run Pure Sports, we're giving away some RPS swag to some of the subscribers. So once we get up to 15K, which are around like 14.4K, we give away some swag. Big T, can you tell people a little bit about that? Because you kind of put out a tweet saying at certain like benchmarks, we're going to give out some swag to people on Twitter.
Yeah, I've sent out the first 2 items too. I actually just went a few days ago and sent out the first 2 items. But yeah, you can even pick it too. Whatever piece of gear you want, a hoodie, a shirt, a hat, a backpack, whatever you want. Yeah, and 15K followers, I think is the number on Twitter. And well, what's the number on YouTube, man, going? What is it?
10K.
10K on YouTube. Super easy though. All you got to do is just go on there, click the subscribe on YouTube button right below our graphic right there. And yeah, on Twitter, just give the follow. Like always, follow DC, follow Mangone, follow the Run Pure page. And the more you're piped into like the little circle of Run Pure, you're going to get more and more good info. And I mean, our team's getting deeper and deeper. We just added the NASCAR guy who I think is awesome for free content. I always bring it up on this show, but it's because I believe in it. I don't ever like say stuff I don't believe in just to sell it. It's a free article, just like these free shows every week for NASCAR. And I'm happy we got it on the site because I've always used it just randomly out there for free. So I'm happy to give it to the people on Run Pure as well. Yeah, just check it all out as always.
Yep, definitely check it all out. Also want to talk about, since we're talking about NBAs and we're excited for the playoffs, want to talk about the best ball stuff that we have going on. There's also MLB best ball. So use that code RunPure, get you $100 match bonus. So be sure to get in on that over there at Underdog. You don't have to be a member here. It's just, if you're watching, let's say you don't even know Run Pure Sports. First time, all you got to do is use that code Run Pure for a deposit bonus. You don't have to sign up first time. You get that $100 match deposit. So be sure to do that. Let's move on over to the next set of games. Let's talk about the Hornets and the Knicks, which feels like an easy game just to move on from. DC, I'll go over to you, though. Maybe you got interest in LaMelo Ball. I mean, tighter playoff rotations for the Hornets, that is sort of appealing. But, man, against the Knicks, I just don't see this being an appealing spot. How about you, DC?
Yeah, honestly, nobody from this game getting anywhere close to kind of cracking my lineups. Only played a couple tonight, a couple on each site, but I don't see anyone as of now that it really, well, I'm even considering on my team. So maybe I'm missing something. Happy to be told wrong and reevaluate. But right now, pretty comfortably fading this game, to be honest.
Yeah, let's go over to you, Big T. I mean, can you tell DC wrong? I mean, is this just a fade? Because I don't know. I don't really see it here. I'm pretty much out on this game.
Yep, big slate. Like always, you got to take some stands. I mean, a few of these guys, like if you landed on them, I'd be like Miles Bridges is always one of those guys that I think you can play, but you don't need to play. And yeah, I'm on the same page. Big slate. You got to fade some spots. Yes.
I think we'll be on this on the next 7:30 game and possibly the next one. I mean, Heat and Celtics, like great game if you're just like watching pure basketball and you want to see two teams grinding it out for that one seed. Like, yeah, seems like a fun game. But DFS wise, I don't really want to pay these price tags. I mean, sure, could Jimmy Butler at 8-6 like maybe have a big game? Yeah, I guess so. Could Jason Tatum pop off at 10-5? I mean, it is a hefty tag. He'd easily have 55 to 60 fantasy points, but I just think this is a game to stay away from. DC, Celtics and Heat, what are you doing here?
Yeah, not a lot with this one either. The one guy I'm considering is Al Horford, who's missed the last couple of games with the personal matter. So we really haven't seen that much this team play all that often without Robert Williams, right? I think we saw Horford a game or two maybe, and I think he played well in those two games. Minutes should be up. He's the one guy I'm considering, but I'm not honestly that excited about him. It's hard to get too excited, frankly, about Al Horford in general. Don't see much from Miami side. So yeah, pretty easy pass here.
And we got in the chat, someone said Mitch is going to ball so hard. Yeah, I mean, Mitch Robinson could against Charlotte, right? I mean, anyone can kill Charlotte as a big man's, but I just don't want to go there. It's just, and again, I'm not
makes sense as a play if you're looking to get a contrarian. I mean, you could absolutely smash against Charlotte. So I get that.
Yeah, that's one of those guys that, like, you could lock in and then just like run the optimizer. If you have a take on someone, like see what it fills out. And it could easily be your differentiator and then just fill in some good chalk plays. So yeah, you can easily do it, but not for me. Big T, are you in agreement? Miami Heat and the Celtics. This is a game that we're kind of fading here.
Yeah, definitely fading for me. Yeah, and you guys brought up a good point. If you ever have a strong take on a guy like Mitch Rob, just go ahead and jam him. That's how you win a slate. Like, that is the differential. And like Mangone just said, click the lock button when you're running the optimizer and just see what it gives you. You don't need to be that different in NBA. If you have one take that's a little off the path, it opens everything up for you. But I'm with you guys on this one. I never really play Heat games. I never really play Boston games unless there's clear value. No, K. Fallick, we're not freaking talking about Max Strush. You don't have to worry about that.
I just don't get what Fallick's saying. Like, Fallick, I mean, I really don't understand how he's like a great play today or anything. Like, I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
He's fine, like he always is. And I've talked about a few value guys, like even PJ Tucker, 3,300. Like, I don't think you need him, but just say I had a perfect team with Jokic and Luka and everybody I want, and I have to play PJ Tucker or Strauss at 3,400. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not
Also,
jamming these guys in. I'm not like, let me lock in Max Strus and see what the outcome is.
let's say you're up top of the leaderboard of a tournament. You didn't have the time to see who your opponent might have at the top, and you see Max Strus or PJ Tucker pop up, and you're like, all right, I could possibly fade like 9 points here if I needed to. So they're not.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, those are the plays that just I never like.
Yeah.
If you don't get me wrong, like I could even play one of them tonight, but they're not going to be like a staple to my team. They're going to definitely be a last piece in type thing.
Yeah.
And so K Alex said you'd rather discuss Josh Green. Has anyone discussed Josh Green on this show?
I said the same thing I just said. The price, 3,100. Yeah. Like if you play anyone 3,100, okay, Josh Green versus Max Strus. They're the same dude.
All right, K Fallick, you got your attention for the day. No more attention to K Fallick. You got it. We're done there. Let's talk about the Timberwolves and
he's been wearing me out about this freaking chop in college basketball too. I'm like, K Fallick, it's Wednesday. The thing doesn't start till Saturday, and he's been leaving me voicemails since Sunday. Like, you got to calm yourself down a little bit, K Fallick.
Voicemails.
Yeah, DC. When's the last time you left a voicemail?
I don't think I even have the voicemail.
He might not have actually left me a voicemail. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how he definitely left me text. I think I might have got a voicemail.
From me?
No,
not from you, from K Fallick.
Oh. Yeah. I was like, I don't think I've left you a voicemail. Yeah. If I have, I don't want to hear it back because it might be rather embarrassing.
If it wasn't a voicemail, Fallick definitely sent like a fax, right? He faxed over to Big T, like, do you see this chop? Like he's
top 15 projected point per dollar under what graph? He's not top 15 anything under my chart.
Yeah, I don't know. Well.
Don't play dusty dudes.
We're talking to Fallick too much. Let's go on to the Timberwolves and the Raptors. 229 total. Not a game I really want to talk too much about. You can make an argument like, can Towns pop off for a big game? Can D-Russ do something at 6'6"? Like, could he get 50? Yeah, I mean, I guess he could. And Edwards at 7'3". Could he have a big game? Sure, but he has not been as great lately. It feels like a frustrating spot to play that guessing game with the Timberwolves, so I don't feel like doing that. On top of that, like, Pascal Siakam, I mean, he crushed the other night. Overtime helped him out too. 9-6, but they're getting healthier, this Raptors team. I don't see myself really loading up on this game either. DC, I'll go over to you. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm off this game. While you were talking, I was trying to, look at the prices and the matchups and try to come up with a case for someone in this game. And I don't know, D'Angelo Russell, 6,600 on DraftKings, low price point, but look what he's doing. It's 30 fantasy points a game. Is that what you want in this slate? I don't think so. So I'll shut up at this point and say, no, I'm not going to this game.
All right, Big T, any thoughts on this game? I know you played some Raptors in the past. I don't know if you're playing them here. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So the key thing is it's the same as the Dallas game, though. Both these teams need to win. You got Toronto in the 6 hole, Minnesota.
But these teams are healthy, though.
They're healthy, but like Toronto's side for sure doesn't want to play their bench. So no one's going to play Toronto versus a Minnesota team that doesn't play great defense.
Fair.
Again, I think they're just sneaky plays like in Cat and Beverly's only 4,900 the other way. Vanderbilt 4,400. I mean, you got D'Lo at 6,600. I just think in tournaments, like I have 3 teams tonight on both sites. I might just like do a little mini stack of this game on one, a mini stack of Dallas on another, just based on the fact that the same reasoning we had in Dallas, like both of these teams want to win. They are healthy, which I do agree with. And the prices kind of are up on the people. I mean, even Cat 96. I don't know though. You could definitely get a run out where this game, who knows, goes to overtime and these guys all get 40 plus minutes. And the good part is there's no one in this game getting ownership. So in tournaments, that's what I want. And I don't know. I'm definitely interested in the Toronto side. So you got guys like OG who quietly has been getting, hold on, let me pull up his minutes. He's quietly been getting a boost though. I mean, 30, 26, 28. He just played 40 minutes. Oh man, he's a good play. He just played 40 minutes and he's 5,700. And they need to win. Like, I don't know. I think Toronto is very, very good low on plays. I like them more than Minnesota, but honestly, like 6,600. You can play Pat Bev at 49.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put Cat in there just because I do think his price is kind of topped out with his upside. But some of the cheaper pieces with a couple of these Toronto guys, I think is a pretty good build.
The only thing I want to say about the Raptors is -5 on all their minutes. They did play overtime against Boston. So the recent games,
that's fine, but we know Toronto wants to play their dudes, though.
For sure. I just want to call it out. Like
for sure, yeah. I mean, like OG at 5,700, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the cheaper guys like him and Trent. Like they can pop off for the price where I don't hate it, but it's not something I'm probably doing on this slate. But I get it.
And Pascal just went for 70, so like, how's he not in play?
Oh, I mean, he is. He could easily pop off for another.
I think that the game stack here is, if you want to go to this game, makes some sense. I do agree at that point. And being healthy doesn't matter that much for a team like Toronto, or even to a lesser extent, but still also the Timberwolves, where when they want to win, I mean, they could just not play their bench and just play their guys anyway. So I do get it from that perspective. Yeah.
We're starting to get some news, so we'll let that file in. As that news is filing in, I do want to talk about the members never win segment that we love to talk about, because the members, they do win over here at Run Pure Sports. So do the coordinators. I mean, Big T won 146K in PGA. Then we had Birdie Monster who outdid Big T for 220K in the PGA streets. Jay Gingery won 6,700 in college basketball. M. Carter won 6K in NBA, and D Jones MB. I mean, F1, it's a new sport, but he won 2K. Rubio does the playbook for that. We also have the NASCAR stuff that we've talked about. So there's a free article on our site. So be sure to check all of that out over here at Run Pure Sports. And again, like and subscribe to the channel to get all of the free content that we have over here on our YouTube channel. News is filing in though, so let's talk about it. We got Goga. I saw will play. Then we got, let's see, Washington available, Brissett game time decision, Jackson out, Brogdon out. So Big T, I know we probably need that Brissett news, but with Washington in and Goga in, does that change some stuff for you?
I was kind of hoping Goga'd be out, but I don't know. I still want to hear the O'Shea news, and I don't know. I still want to see starters, but yeah, I mean, it starts to get a little bit clearer for us. Hopefully, I want as many guys to sit as possible, obviously, just to get some value in there with Jokic. But I don't know. Oh, yeah, nothing's really changed that much for me yet.
Yeah, I think it's not going to help the situation as much. I think Goga sitting would have been big. If Brissett's out, then I think Taylor slides in the lineup. But I still think they'll have 9 bodies, I believe, where it's not 8. 8 is like the key number if you can get it to. 9 is still good. But, DC, what's your thoughts here on this news?
Yeah, I agree with you. The 9th body can matter a lot, because it's just, usually when these teams get down to 8 or 9 guys, the minutes just get kind of spread all over the place. And as many guys as you can remove, when you're looking at the value, it's like 5 guys got to be on the court, right? So you just get some guys that are like more or less locked into 30 plus minutes. So we'll see I think the O'Shea Brissett news. If he's out, then yeah, I mean, you got to be a little bit interested at that point.
All right, let's move on over to this next game. We got the Rockets and the Kings, which my best hit this year was a Rockets and Kings stack, where I was kind of thinking about it before while we were basically around the start of the show. I was like, I stacked this game up, and this was a while back, and not everyone was slamming in like 5 or 6 Rockets and Kings. And I know it's not the sexiest game from like hey, teams are trying to make the playoffs, but I don't know. I think running back Kings is a smart idea. I know sometimes it's being ran back in like the optimizers when you run them, but like, if you jam in like 2 or 3, like let's say it's DiVincenzo at like 5-3, can he pay off his tag against a Rockets team? If you look the last game, well, what did they close with? With Sengun out, they closed with Tate, they closed with Martin and Christopher. Like they can get a little bit more small ball. I know the Kings don't love to do that, but you could easily see that with the Harrison Barnes at times. Like I just think there's a lot of opportunity for this game stack to really pop off where people don't run back the Kings value plays. So I'm definitely considering it. My favorite guys on the King side, probably Barnes, Mitchell, DiVincenzo, maybe Metu. I know there's some of the big men out, and the Rockets sometimes like to play a little bit bigger. It just depends who's in, because we don't know Sengun's status. So that's what I want to get. I think the starting lineups are going to be really important there. And people aren't playing Damian Jones at 4-8. I haven't seen him once anywhere. And he's played 25 minutes, 24, 30, 22. And now he gets to play against the Rockets. Big T. You talked about saying some of these Rocket plays are bad. Why don't we just play a low on Damian Jones, who you've been just slamming, centers against the Rockets all year and just call it a day. What's your thoughts here on this game, Big T?
Yeah, I mean, these Sacramento guys, especially the bigs. I mean, Trey Lyles at 5,700, I think is an incredible play, and I don't think anyone's going to play him, which is always a good combination. We keep picking on bigs against Houston. Damian Jones and Trey Lyles fit that bucket, and I think they're just very good plays. Did Houston play yesterday or the day before? Is this a back-to-back?
It's
confusing myself.
No, I don't think they played yesterday.
Was it 2 days ago?
They played the Spurs 2 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. So I think these are great plays. Davion Mitchell has been a guy I've been just so high on. No one's going to pay him at 7,600. This could be like my third game stack. How we talked about the Cleveland game. We talked about I talked about the Toronto game, and then this game. I agree. The Houston side's going to get ownership. The Sacramento side's going to get a little, but it's not going to be Trey Lyles and Damian Jones, the two bigs that I love. Even Metu at 3,900 is a big against this team. I really like those three. And yeah, you can play Barnes and Dante and Mitchell for sure. They're all good plays, but they're going to get some ownership, decent amount of ownership themselves. And I think Lyles and Damian Jones are definitely the way to go. And then you look at the Houston side. I talked about it a little bit to start the show, but man, like Tate is a guy that's going to pop in the projections. I just don't see it at all. They don't want to play him. Houston wants to lose. I'd much rather play. I mean, like KJ Martin, I think safe because he's a younger guy that they want to run a little bit. Christopher at 39, I think is pretty safe. Jalen Green and Porter are going to be the guards. They're going to run them a bunch, so they're safe. I think Tate's really the only one. Well, Matthews, I'm never playing Matthews. But you go down, I think you can take chances on, like, literally no one's going to play Bruno. Like, no one in the entire contest. He's going to be under 1%. And I think you can play Bruno in this matchup. I think he's like in a big field tournament play, but the dude is 3K at the live final. Let me find that exact game. You had a similar spot in the live final with some guys out, and Sengun was chalk. He played 23 minutes that night, had 34 fantasy points for 3K. Mangone, under 1%. Is that something you might be interested in?
That's definitely something I might be interested in.
Look at Big T taking over the host role. You love to see it.
I'm pretty good at hosting.
I'm definitely interested in like a 1% guy that could have a smash spot. So I'm in agreement with you on that.
Bogart, Tate, small ball 5. I'm not concerned about Tate. I take strong stands, as people know. Tate is going to be very popular. I think he's a horrible play. I'll say it. Under all circumstances, I think he's a terrible play.
I definitely prefer Christopher and Martin. I'm not going to say Tate's a horrible play, but I do think he's like the third on the list of those other two guys for me, just because
Houston is like the team that I think they want to lose. I just don't think there's any security with the guy.
I think they have enough guys, right? So,
well, you know what's going to hurt Tate? I do think, like I talked about Harrison Barnes maybe playing some small ball 5. I actually don't know if that's going to happen because the Kings always play a traditional big. It's just they always do it, where I think you are going to see Jones and Fernando maybe go up against each other, where that is going to cut into Tate. Yes, can Tate play the 3? Can he play the 4? But I wouldn't be shocked if the closing lineup, let's say they started with Matthews, Tate, and Fernando, and the closing lineup is it's Porter Jr., it's Green because they have no guards.
It could be anything. I mean, the closing lineup could be anything with Houston, you know, obviously you got to have a guard out there, but beyond that, I kind of like Mangone, the Lyles call, because that's like a perfect play against Houston, right? Especially missing Sengun and Christian Wood. They're going to have to play small. Like, that's Lyles not going to, you know, you're going to have to scroll a long way down projections to find Trey Lyles, I assume, on this slate. But that makes some sense. I like that call from Big T. But, man, it's hard with Houston. It's hard to trust, but I get their prices are so cheap. Great matchup. It sounds like you're on the other side of this one, Mangone, where you kind of want to stack this game.
Yeah, I definitely like stacking it up and finding ways. And, like,
I get it.
If you do think it goes a little smaller rather than like a traditional big, like Metu could easily be the 5 that's like trying to space the floor a little bit more instead, right? Like that's a way it could go. I do want to call out that like like Matthews and Tate, they could easily start with Fernando, like I was saying before, but the closers could be Christopher at the 3 and then Martin at the 4. And then
please don't start Bruno. I'm going to be steamed if they start Bruno.
They definitely might, but
I'm going to be pissed.
But
he's my sneaky guy.
Big T, that news is not going to come for a very long time. That is
still though. If he starts at 3K, people are going to jam him, and it's going to piss me off.
I mean, they won't be able to get him in there as easily as you think because everyone's going to be on Jokic.
But if he doesn't start, like he's literally going to be under 1%.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
Which is just like incredible to me.
Yep, I would agree.
Sometimes you got to jump in sight unseen. I'm getting Fernando in my lineup. He's coming in.
He's going to crush. I'm telling. And granted, I'll be honest. I'm always honest. I've missed a few of these too, where they've just have not played much. But I've also hit them where they've gone for like 40 for us. So I feel really good about Bruno tonight.
Lost plenty of slates in my life. So there's another one because of Fernando. We'll survive.
And you can sing this. K. Fallick, our boy, bring him back. He was singing the damn Disney song at the live final. What's that? Don't talk about Bruno.
Well, now I'm less interested after finding that out.
Get him back out of the player pool after the song.
let me ask you about one more guy, and DC, I'll go to you. I like Dante DiVincenzo, a dude that just it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It could be July in the summer, right? He could be playing in the G League. He's a grinder. He's going to be out there hustling for every single ball.
He's also a double condom play because he never gives you upside.
I disagree. I think he has upside at the price. I mean, it's the Rockets. You can't tell me no. He never has upside. He's playing the Rockets. Everyone has upside against the Rockets.
I mean, the dude hasn't cracked 30 ever, and he's 5,300.
And he's playing the Rockets. I mean,
I want to get a side bet. Then you can have shitty DiVincenzo. Who else is in his range? He's terrible.
I mean, who do you want matched against him?
I don't know. Like, who's in that range?
I don't know.
Who's in the?
Were you interested in that range?
I'll take Damian Jones for 4,800. I'll give you.
I like Damian Jones too. I don't want to not play. I like him also. So I don't.
Well, you like that?
Actually, I'll take the deal.
I like both of them a lot. Like I might play
Okay.
Damian Jones over him. I don't know which one I'm going to play, but I think they're good plays. I might have exposure to both. I talked about Damian Jones before.
But hang on, I don't mind the DiVincenzo call, but I talked about it before the Miami game for Davion Mitchell, where they're just letting him go. I mean, obviously they shipped out Halliburton. Fox is injured. He's a rookie guy. Look at those minutes the last 4 or 5 games. It's like 40 minutes every single night. You look at, I talk about the kind of the point guard metrics, like how much do they have the ball in their hands and all that stuff. He is way near the top of that. Throwing the matchup against Houston, where, I mean, you can respectfully disagree, but you could also make the argument Davion Mitchell's the best player on the court in this game in the best possible matchup. So I like Mitchell quite a bit.
I'm like so high on him as the player too. I've been talking about it all
year. They're letting him go.
He's just really good.
Yeah.
No, I love him in this spot. And 7-6 feels pricey, but you can definitely play him.
Not really.
Not as pricey when you realize he's going to play into the 40s.
I'm with you. But people struggle when they see it for sure. It's like I wouldn't be shocked if next week he's 8.5K. And
he should be, honestly. If he's going to play 40 minutes.
Which it seems like he is. I mean, it could change at any time, but what we know right now, nothing has changed with the Kings, and they're running out there 40 minutes every night.
And he's going against the Rockets. One more thing, Big T, that we should talk about, because we really haven't talked about it enough, is Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. They don't have really many guards to back them up where they're going to play a pile of minutes. Like, is 7K, is that too expensive for Kevin Porter Jr. here? Like, Jalen Green, the other night, he played 40 minutes against the Spurs for 45 fantasy points. Like, I don't know. I think these guys are great plays, and I'm definitely getting exposure to. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, especially in a game stack. I think in a game stack where you really want this game to go crazy, they don't have guards. Literally the only risk when you play these two is that it's Houston and they don't want to win, and it's just an ugly game and they don't play as many minutes as you want. But if you guaranteed me they were going to play, I would think they'd be two of the better plays on the slate against Sacramento, who just isn't great on defense. The one thing that is tough about Sacramento is Mitchell. Man, he's a dog on defense too, where whichever dude he guards, they're going to have a tough night. So maybe he guards Green, maybe he guards Porter. I don't know. But no, I agree with you. This game, I like these two guards. Really, the only guy I don't like is Tate. Oh, and Matthews. I don't like Matthews either, but everybody else in the game I think is great. And I don't know. I like it. I like a little game stack here.
Yeah, that man, you talking about
Don't be scared to go to these pieces. I'm going to give my speech again. Everyone knows about the Houston pieces, Tate and Martin and Christopher and Green and Porter. Don't be afraid. I'm telling you, even this Garuba dude has been getting a little bit of run where this is a game. He played 14 minutes, but he's 3K. Just don't be scared of this game. They could easily go to this bench unit. I'm telling you, Bruno and Knicks and Garuba, it's still Houston. Like, you can't trust them just to play these good guys. You can't against Sacramento. And look at the standings. The Rockets, I guess they're already minted up as having a worse record than the Kings, but two of the worst teams in basketball. Don't be afraid in the tournament to play these guys is my only point, especially if you're not stacking this game. Say you go with one of our other builds and you're planning on fading some of this Houston good value. Don't be afraid to play a Luka, Jokic, Bruno, Garuba team where you got 2-3K Houston pieces. Don't be afraid to do it. I'm just saying it.
I like it.
All right, let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Hawks and the Thunder, which the Thunder, we got to discuss them because Trey Mann is questionable. And if Trey Mann doesn't play, well, like that's great for Wiggins. Theo Maledon is still a good play, becomes even better play. I mean, Poku at 6'7", it's a hefty tag on Poku, but I think he'd still get the job done. A lot to like here. And then on the Hawks side, let's say for some reason OKC can keep this game close. Well, Trae Young is going to pop off. I don't know if Kevin Huerter is a guy I want to go to today, but it is a great matchup. Anyone against the Thunder can absolutely crush. Clint Capella, we've targeted bigs. 6.5K for Clint Capella. He could easily have a big game in this spot. Big T, let's go over to you. What is your thoughts here on the OKC value and some of these Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, so I felt pretty good about a lot of the other value spots. I just don't like OKC. They pissed me off the other night when Trey Mann got screwed. I didn't even know he had the chance to sit, and then he sat. I just don't trust OKC as much as some of these other spots. They want to play a bunch of dudes. They're okay, a few of the plays, and I do, as far as the Atlanta side, like Trae Young, definitely going to be in my player pool. Atlanta, where's Atlanta at in the standings? They're sitting in 10th right now, safely in 10th, though. So they actually don't have as much to play for as I thought, just because they're only a couple games out of 8, but they can't get out of the play-in. So they're pretty much locked into 9th or 10th, it looks like, as far as that. So they don't have as much to play for, but I still like Trae Young. As long as you don't want to, if you don't end up on like Luka, I think Trae Young's a good play. I tend to like Luka more, but overall, I'm way lower on this game than other people will be. I just don't like it as much as some of those other spots.
All right, DC, how about you? I mean, I don't mind this game. I think I like the Rockets-Kings game more, but what's your thoughts here? Similar, 229.5 total, just a really wide spread for the Hawks, but they are on the road. What are you doing here with this game?
Yeah, hard to trust OKC right now. I mean, Poku getting all the minutes. I've been on him during this run. He's been awesome, but price is up at this point, and he's just another one of those guys where, man, you don't know if they just decide to randomly reduce his minutes one night while you're paying the highest price tag of the year for him. So that makes me nervous. Maledon, listen, if Mann is out, I think he's an awesome play. At 5,700, 6,300, again, you don't know for sure, but the upside is so high, right? That's the big thing. If they do let him go 40 minutes again, probably going to crush, honestly, against the Hawks. So I do think he's a fun play. And then on the Hawks side, I don't know if Big T mentioned on Clint Capella. I haven't really been on him much over this run, but it does seem like he came back from his injury and they're kind of holding his minutes back a little bit. But now Hawks in the playoff hunt, obviously, he's playing better, 30 minutes in each of the last 2 games. And we know how Biggs can do against this OKC team. I mean, he could absolutely smash in there. So, yeah, Clint Capella, 6,500 on DK. I think he's 6,100 on FanDuel, so I like him even better over there. I think he's a fun play. And then obviously Trae Young, if he fits your bill, by all means, if that's the guy you want to pay for. I'm with Big T. I do prefer Luka, but no problem with anyone who wants to play Trae Young instead.
Yep, for sure. Definitely could be a good spend up on this slate. Let's move on over to the Grizzlies and the Spurs. And the Grizzlies bitch been blowing teams out. Feels like a good spot to stay away from. And they're only -5, but the Spurs, they are playing for something. They're trying to get in that playing game. So maybe the Spurs do keep it close. And if they do, you would assume Murray is part of it. 11.2K, probably a pretty contrarian spend up. Big T, what are you doing here with the Spurs and Grizzlies game?
Yeah, it's a tougher spot for me just looking at it. I don't know. I like a lot of the earlier spots way more than this one. You can come onto a few of these pieces, especially from the Spurs side, like DeJounte. I mean, DeJounte versus Trae Young is kind of an interesting. It was the same dynamic, I think, on the Monday slate now where you had to choose. I chose Trae, chose wrong because DeJounte went nuclear. But similar spot, and honestly, I think I like Trae just a little bit more again. I don't know. I mean, neither one of these teams, the Spurs need to beat the Lakers for that last spot, but the Lakers are close to just tapping out almost. So if the Spurs can win a couple games here, what's the spread in this game anyways?
-5.
5. So the Memphis is favored by 5 on the road when Memphis is literally not playing for anything. They're going to be the 2 seed in the West. The Spurs have to win to get in the play. Yeah, I don't give winners often on this as DFS, but yeah, I like the Spurs to win this game outright.
Man, don't fuck with Memphis right now. This team is
they are a buzzsaw. I'll give you that. Like
I'm on the other side of that.
They're not playing for anything though.
They're playing for minutes on a championship run is what they're playing for. Like this team is just mowing people down.
I think the Spurs are going to win outright. Yeah. I'll take decent. I'll put my foot rub on the line. double or nothing foot rub.
That's one of those like you ever bet with your friends in like middle school where you're like double or nothing until one person's down like $6 million
every time.
Yeah, it's like I feel pretty good. I was like, I'm not going to give you like 10 million foot rubs. So yeah.
I still remember when I was a kid. I was up like 600,000 in like the 6th grade, and I'm like, okay, give me those 3 CDs. And that Capri Sun, and we're even.
I will say, betting against the Memphis Grizzlies, it feels like you feel good going up against it, and then you see Big Bertha, and you go, I can beat Big Bertha, and then just runs through you, like absolutely runs through you like the buzzsaw. So I don't know. I would stay away from it, but I understand Spurs are definitely playing for something. DC, what's your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, mostly a fade for me here. I don't want to pay. I love DeJounte Murray, but I just don't like going up against Memphis right now, just blowing everybody out. Won't be surprised if they do it for a 5th, 6th straight game, including a Bucks team that was fully healthy. It's not for me going up against this Memphis team right now, an 11-game slate with value everywhere. And then the Memphis guys are just priced up a little bit. I mean, they're not going to pay $5,700 for Tyus Jones on the slate. The other guys are priced up too. They're healthy outside of John Morant, and the prices have adjusted because he's been out for a long enough time. So relatively easy fade here for me on this one.
All right, let's move on over to the next one. Let's talk about this game. We got the Suns and the Warriors, and man, Jordan Poole's been playing great, but this is not the easiest spot. Chris Paul is only 8K. It is crazy to see end of the year NBA, Jordan Poole is more expensive than Chris Paul, but I mean, Suns could easily come out and have a big game. I just don't really want to touch this one. Big T, how about you?
Yeah, I've kind of been against this Warriors team. They're just they're falling now with Curry out too. They're not totally out of the question of like literally dropping down to 6th or 7th if they don't win a few games, and their schedule is still pretty tough with games like tonight. I mean, the Suns, they're quietly 61-14. Like, that's not all that far off the pace of like best ever. And people know they're good, but I don't think people realize just how good they have been. And with guys like Chris Paul out for long periods, even, it's crazy how good they've been. And these teams are just going in opposite directions for me. As far as fantasy, I mean, it's one of 2 10 o'clock games. We have a ton of plays we like early. These are where I simplify slates, I think, more than almost anyone. Unless I love plays in these late 2 games, I just fade it. Like, why do you want to wait around for news and scratches and blowouts? And I just don't think you need to do it unless you love something. And I definitely do not love this game.
All right, let's move on over to DC. You've been playing some Jordan Poole. Are you playing him here in this spot? And you also like to play Chris Paul at times. Is this the spot to do it?
Yeah, I think both guys are in play, but probably not for me in this particular situation. But like Big T said, the Suns are just incredible. I think I mentioned on Monday, man, going they got like one game away, I believe, from beating the Bulls. What was it? That 73 in 9 record or whatever it was. Over the course of like the end of last year coming into this year, I think it was just an incredible team. They got CP3 back. He hasn't missed a beat, close to 50 points in each of the last 2. You can play him for 8K, but I think the Suns blow out the Warriors tonight. And they're rolling coming into the playoffs. They're going to play hard, great defensively. I feel pretty good fading this game, honestly.
All right, let's go over to the last and final game. We got the Pelicans and the Blazers, which man, definitely could be a game to get some exposure to. It's the late game. There's 2 games at that time, but hard to make some pivots if it doesn't fall your way. That's something to mention. With the injury news, we got Valanciunas is questionable. Larry Nance is probable. So that is a new situation there with the Pelicans. I don't know what to do here with this spot. Big T, let me talk to you. What do you do with the Blazers and the Pelicans?
It's hard, man. Portland is going to be a nightmare these last 10 days with home games. I don't know how many home games they have. But when they're one of the late games and they want to lose games, it is just really hard. At least the pricing, they bump some of these guys that you would want to play, like Brandon Williams and Eubanks. Even the cheaper guys like Ellaby and Keon Johnson are closer to 5K now. So they're doing us a favor because, man, I don't want to play these. I don't want to wait till 10 o'clock and wait for the starters to it's a team that wants to lose.
DraftKings, do the right thing and remove Portland games from the slate for the rest of the season. This is not a team trying to win. Get them out of here.
Especially these huge slates.
They're the last game of the night. They just ruin the whole slate.
You don't have to take it off. Just price them ridiculous so we don't even touch them.
Or just price them up.
Put them all at 10K, their whole roster. There you go.
I hate it. If they beat me, they beat me. An 11-game slate, I'm just not waiting for the news. I'm not messing with Portland. If I lose because of it, I lose because of it. But I'm definitely fading it.
I'm with you. If Willie Hernangomez chases me down, so be it. Larry Nance is there. That could definitely mess with stuff. It is a Larry Nance revenge game. I don't see myself really playing the Larry Nance revenge game spot, but if you want to play some Showdown, maybe you can load up on that. I don't even know if that's the main Showdown one, but I'm not too interested.
Is Joe Val questionable?
What?
Is Joe Val?
Yeah, he is.
Is there a chance, Joe? Because I would like Big Willie at 30.
Well, of course you'd like him, Big T, but what if the news doesn't fall your way?
Yeah, then you're screwed. You're in big trouble.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The other point I would say, he doesn't seem like a particularly vengeful person, but CJ McCollum, if he wanted to, could easily drop 50 points in this game. Right? Coming back home to Portland against for a team.
I think I would be more next year when Dame's back and he's not vengeful against CJ Ellaby.
Well, maybe it's against the franchise and against his old fans. I don't know.
I agree with your point though. If he wants to go off, he can definitely go off.
So that's at least interesting for me for what I think will be a pretty low-owned dude.
Yeah, and a decent price point too at 8,800. It's almost like the Donovan Mitchell play from yesterday.
Even his bad game, he's probably putting up 40 fantasy points here. So
yeah.
Well, if they do get up early and they're just blowing them out, they'll probably do something in the third quarter. Give them a timeout, a standing ovation, right, and move on. So maybe that's
or let him drop 50. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, maybe they do let him drop 50. It definitely could work out.
Pelicans are another team that needs to win too. I'm leaning towards DC. He might have sold me a little bit
He's not in my lineups, but I mean.
I don't mind a share though, of my 3 teams, and I always like the late hammer in a spot where you don't have to make decisions still. No matter what, unless he's obviously scratched or something.
That's not going to happen.
But you just leave him in there, and I mean he's safe for 40. They need to win. I mean they're up 1 game on the Spurs and Lakers, so they need to win.
If Ingram wasn't back, I would like it a lot more, but that kind of is not my point, really. It's CJ can just do it if he wants to, and they do need him. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely a game that you can get exposure to. You don't have to prioritize it, but have a plan, right? If you are thinking, J-Val might be out, don't just put in Hernangomez and be I'll figure it out later. Have a plan to have some type of pivot or adjustment. maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like making
You
sure
could
you have the
play-
opportunity to pivot to a
You, know,
Blazer.
you could play McCollum and Hernan Gomez and hope that Valanciunas is out, and then I bet there's a decent 2v2 there if you need it.
Yep, for sure. You can definitely find one there. Don't got too much else to say about that. Final thing that I want to bring up here, again, like and subscribe to the channel, helps us out a ton. We really, really appreciate it. Hit that red subscribe button, definitely is appreciated. Also, the likes for the plays of the day. We're at 432 watching. We got 209 likes. This is what we'll do. We'll give out the plays of the day. I'm going to give out one. DC will give out one. So will Big T. But if we don't get the likes up in the next like couple of minutes, we're going to pull the plug on Big T's play, which you don't want to pull the plug on that workbench play of the day. Big T has been talking him up. I have some guesses of who it's going to be. So we'll have to see. DC, let's go over to you first. Who is your play of the day?
Well, I know I won't be stealing Big T's play here because I'm going to I wouldn't call him unathletic, but a big man whitey dude, not the favorite plays of Big T all the time. And it's not even the best big man whitey on his own team, which is it could also be a problem. But Lauri Markkanen, I think, is going to play big minutes tonight. I think he's going to see significant minutes at the 5 whenever Kevin Love sits. I believe Markkanen will shift over there. And good matchup against Dallas. Looks like a good spot to me. So Lauri Markkanen.
All right, Lauri Markkanen.
Is that worse than Kevin Huerter? It might be.
No, I mean, again, I'm not going to call you out for it. I don't think I need to call you out for it, so I'm good.
You know it won't work out well if you do, so good call there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to challenge on like these dudes that are going to – I'm not going to challenge on a dude that's going to play 40 minutes tonight. Sure. I'm okay. There's other stands to take at times. So I have an idea for you. You guys aren't going to like it, but give me Dante DiVincenzo. Give me him at 5.3.
Double Whiteys. Let's go. Big team.
Yeah.
Pick your favorite Whitey. Let's go.
Yep. Everyone hated Herner, and my plays have been hot. I had Drummond the past like couple.
That brings me back to the roots of Hulk Hogan when you took Hogan in the. Oh God.
Yep, I took Herner. Has been crushing. I had KD who was at 6% and dropped 70 recently.
The streak's gonna be over today.
It's not over today, Big T.
Yeah.
It's not over. Can I get the over on 30 DK points from you? That was the number you were saying before that he can't get over.
Sure,
So can I get the over on that?
Definitely, sure.
All right, we'll do that for 100, Big T. Let's mark that one down. Hopefully I can get that PayPal from Big T tonight. But Dante DiVincenzo, he goes for 40. He's going for 40 tonight.
Oh,
nice
God.
big game from him. I'm in on it.
Oh,
Big T, I know you're not feeling it, but that's fine. I'm not worried about it. We'll go over to you, though, for the workbench play of the day because, hey, we got to 241. That was a good push home from the people. Big T, who do you got here?
I mean, I don't have a choice but to go to my boy after I talked him up. And it's a true workbench anyways. That when we first started doing the segment, I think DC had the good idea originally of doing these plays of the day long time ago. The roots were, though, to have like a completely unowned guy cheap. And I hit a few of them early where it was fun, and then it got a little more predictable. But I want to go back to the roots with an under 1% Bruno. I have to go back to the roots. I feel good about it. I'm hoping he doesn't start, although if he starts, it gives me more security too, I guess. So it goes both ways. But either way, Bruno tonight, Stone Min 3K, I believe. And I think he's got upside, as crazy as it sounds. So give me Bruno to go with your two whiteys.
All right, well, Bruno.
I mean, we might be a total disaster with our 3 plays of the day today.
We'll have to see. Big T, get it on the whiteboard.
2 whiteys and Bruno.
Yeah. Listen, people think it's crazy. I'm with it, though. I like it. And, hey, Big T, worst case, you and I got a little game stack, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but we got at least 2 on each, one on each side. Maybe pick up. I'm
going to do a team with all 3 of our soldiers. I feel okay about them.
Throw in Davion Mitchell. You get both ball handlers.
I'm definitely playing Mitchell. I feel really good about him.
Oh, I do too. But I wanted to go with DiVincenzo as my guy, so I'll definitely have exposure to him today. But that is going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining. We got the Up to Lock show coming up next on the premium side, so be sure to check that out. But that's going to wrap it up for me, Mangone, Big T, and DC. We'll see you guys later.